Alright, so I got this ice bucket at a flea market type thing going on somewhere locally here. And it has a really cool retro look. I love the color. It's like a copper metallic look. Has this white trim and the chrome base. Just as a really awesome looking. The handles look very retro, very 60s style. It's a pretty good seller on eBay or other places. I've cleaned this up, washed it, got it all cleaned out and cleaned up. And what I found was, and I don't know if you can see, so I'm going to move the camera over here where you can see it. There are several scratches on the surface of this. Okay, several little scratches. Here's one. There was a pretty long one going all the way down the length here. Some minor surface scratches here and there. There was a pretty good one, abrasion. There was a pretty good abrasion right here on this white area. And a really bad right down along here. I don't know if you can see that pitted area. And then right here an abrasive and another abrasion right here. So this was like right here where it was like up against something and rubbing in a vehicle while he was driving or something. A lot of vibration and a really lot of rubbing here, and this was really bad. And so I got this Novus product here. Novus 3 heavy scratch removal. Novus 2 fine scratch removal and polisher. Bring that out here. So now what happened is that I took this Novus 3 and I began buffing those scratches and that abrasion area and stuff by hand, and it was doing pretty good. I did this whole lid. This lid had some minor scratches, little tiny ones, and it's looking really good. I might do a little more buffing on it, but this lid looks really nice and polished up. But I want to take these other scratches out of this bucket because they just don't look good. And I want it to be right when I sell it. And that's a major plan, is to sell it. So I'm going to shake this up and make sure I get this Novus 3 good and mixed up. So a problem that I had was that the buffing by hand was just, it was killing me. You know, it's a lot of work. You have to do it for several minutes, especially when you got larger scratches and abrasions and stuff. So I went down and got this pneumatic die grinder. And this would be good for some other applications as well. But this thing turns 22,000 RPM. So I'm going to have to be careful on this plastic with it. I don't want to get it I don't want to melt the plastic through friction, but I do want to apply some of this heavy scratch removal, buff it a little bit, see what it looks like, give a little more juice as I go, and see where I can, how much I can apply to it without ruining something. So I'm going to be careful at first. One thing I want to do is I want to put something down on this table, on this workbench, so I don't scratch it even more while I'm working on it. Or like buff one side, scratch the other side, roll it over, buff those scratches out, scratch it all over again. No, I'm just going to put this down for right now. Alright, so looking at this, I've got some vertical scratches. This is that area where it was rubbing. And then we had some friction, agitation type abrasion in here. And I buffed it, a lot of it out, but I can still see the pitting in there. In fact, let me just show you what I'm talking about. Macro on this thing. right there. You see that pitting on the highlighted area. And right here, all that pitting on that highlighted area. And then down here, an abrasion along there. Now, it's already by hand. I've taken care of quite a bit of that. Get my nose 3. Heavy scratch remover. I'm going to put some on this buffing. And I'm just kind of make sure it gets on there pretty good. Oh, it's going to make a mess. Don't want to put too much juice to it. One thing, it's going to make a big old mess. So it's going to be nice to have a little shield on this thing, wouldn't it? Well, you know what? They had a cutoff tool that had a shield on it. Just a little bigger around. Maybe not quite 22,000 RPM, but still at least like 16,000 RPM, I think it was, 18,000 RPM. Would have been a nice alternate to this thing. Hindsight, looking at it. Oh, you notice I'm changing directions of the buffer wheel to, especially you should go across grain, perpendicular, that is, to the scratch area. Okay, the cotton wheel was a little too dry. In other words, it absorbs moisture from the product, which causes it to dry really quickly. In addition to the high RPMs that I was turning, I was trying to keep it a little slow, but that was hard to control. In hindsight, I should have turned down the air pressure a little bit and, been a little more careful, especially on the corners where you don't have such a flat surface on the substrate. You want to, when you get to a sharper corner, you don't want to apply too much RPM, rotations per minute, because what is going to happen is it's going to create some serious friction on that sharp corner, that rounded part. What happens is, in this picture, you'll see that there's an area around the base there, on that rounded area, that did melt. Just a small area, but it was easy enough to fix, and you'll see in the next section we're going to fix that. Going forward, we're going to use a different applicator. We're going to use a sponge applicator. The surface is going to be perpendicular to the shaft rotation, which is going to give a little wider application area to work with, and much softer material, one that won't absorb the moisture out of the Novus product. It might be better to use this foam wheel than it is to So this square of paper, this is like it's on a foam pad. I believe this is 2000 or 1000. Let me sand it with that for a minute. All right. I don't know. Let's see what happens. All right, that did really well. Kind of cleaned it up. The reason why I'm covering it with my hand is I'm trying to keep it from spraying all over the camera, which it's already done. Right here. Darn it. Trying to keep the Velcro from scratching it. Some dab on there. Alright, now going back. So right about here. I have a nice long scratch coming down here. Real long scratch. Not a nice one, but a scratch. There's no such thing as a nice scratch. Now, move this thing down. I'm going to go perpendicular to that scratch. That pretty much took care of that. A few little scratches here and here. Just some smaller ones. But about the same depth as that long one. Okay, I gotta stay off this corner. Dadgum, I barely even touched it. Barely even touched that corner. Now I think what's happening is that the Novus product is I guess basically meant to be hand rubbed. So when you start doing it with it, when it gets dry, and this thing absorbs all the moisture, this cotton does, and then once it's dry, it becomes almost like sandpaper. Okay, so now what I'm doing is I have switched over to Novus 1 product. I'm using a sponge type applicator wheel on this thing, and it seems to be doing a really good job, and so that's what I'm doing. It's a much less abrasive product here, and it's doing a really good job of cleaning this up, finishing up the process. pancake thing ain't hanging it, man. It can't keep up. And I'm not even doing anything serious here at all. It's that area with the vibration, abrasion, whatever you want to call it on there. Almost done here. I'm just going to go around this white band. Come on. Wow, that did a really good job polishing that up. And I believe you can look, I was taking a look at the, see what this is like, this color is not the color of plastic. I don't know if you can tell that on camera or not. I'm going to bring this over here. Basically what this is there's an insert in a clear, transparent plastic bucket, okay, including this chrome is an insert. All right, so there's this awesome depth to the color. When you see this bucket, you're like, wow, that looks totally cool because of the depth in the color behind this acrylic plastic bucket. Anyway, those areas where the on the corners here where it started melting, I noticed something. Find it where it is, right in this area here. If I get the light a certain way on it, I can see little fissures in the plastic. I don't know if you can see that. Let me get it on macro here. Bring the light over here. You see that? That area, and right there, and right here on this corner, where maybe the bucket was dropped and then that developed these in there. Either that, or when I started melting it started developing. I don't know. There's one small area right here that did the same thing, and I don't know if that was what caused that issue or not, but all I know is it's not an issue anymore. It's not a big deal. Alright, so I got splatter everywhere. Well, I hope you all have enjoyed watching this video as much as I did doing the work, and you can see now some pictures here of the final product. The buffing actually really did a wonderful job in bringing out a new-like appearance on a very old vintage product. If you enjoyed watching this video, please click the subscribe button to subscribe to my channel, and I'll try and bring more of these type videos to you. And thank you for watching.